How does a massive modern cargo ship carrying 62 people just vanish? Completely invisible to the world for 4 whole months, right up until the exact moment it sinks to the bottom of the ocean. It honestly scrambles your brain a bit, doesn't it? I mean, our brains tell us that in today's hyper-connected, satellite-tracked world, you literally cannot hide a steel behemoth on the open water. There's just no way. And yet, that is exactly what happened.
Have you ever felt completely helpless when a complex safety system you trust just entirely fails you? You assume the guardrails are in place, right? But then a disaster strikes, and you realize, wait, it wasn't a computer glitch that caused this. It was simple, totally avoidable human negligence. 62 lives hung in the balance because of choices made way before the storm clouds even started gathering.
Look, as a society, we rely so heavily on international treaties and constant digital signals to keep our global supply chains safe. It's how we keep our oceans transparent. When those systems break down, the consequences are, well, fatal. So hit subscribe and join the Human Error News Network community right now, because today we're going to uncover exactly why these systems fail and how a ship managed to vanish in plain sight.
Welcome to a special report from the Human Error News Network. Okay, let's dive right into this timeline and break down the tragedy of the Khoi Nguyen 18 in the South China Sea. On Saturday, right at 18:30 hours, a sudden distress signal just pierced the airwaves. By Sunday, a massive multinational search was initiated, and by Monday afternoon, 48 survivors had miraculously been returned to shore in Vietnam. But, the story doesn't end with those survivors.
Let's lay out the hard facts of the incident. Out of the 62 crew members on board when the vessel went down, 48 were saved and safely returned to their families. Tragically, one casualty has been confirmed and their body recovered, and the desperate search for the remaining missing crew members continues as we speak. But what makes this rescue operation so incredibly unprecedented is who exactly showed up to answer that distress call.
Now, this is where the stakes shift entirely. We're looking at an absolute geopolitical shock here. The South China Sea is one of the most bitterly contested waterways on the entire planet. I mean, overlapping territorial claims frequently lead to intense standoffs. Yet, in the face of this tragedy, rival nations just dropped their disputes. The PLA Navy and China Coast Guard deployed ships and helicopters. The Philippine Coast Guard sent patrol vessels and aircraft. And Vietnamese authorities, alongside local fishing vessels, rushed straight to the scene.
This extremely rare instance of international cooperation unfolded strictly under international maritime agreements. Actually, the Philippine Coast Guard spokesperson specifically noted they were directly coordinating with Vietnam to guide the search and rescue response. These nations utilized shared search planning systems and issued navigational warnings together. They acted as a unified front to save lives right in the middle of the fiercely contested Spratly Islands. And honestly, this brings up a rather profound irony. The rescue operations were centered right near Fiery Cross Reef. Now, this isn't just any reef. It's a Chinese-built artificial island and one of Beijing's most heavily militarized outposts. It's complete with an airstrip and radar installations. To see a joint humanitarian rescue happening right in the shadow of such a fortified and disputed military flashpoint, well, it's a fascinating twist for anyone following global geopolitics. But let's take a step back. What actually brought the Khoi Nguyen 18 down? Well, according to data from the Hong Kong Observatory, the weather was notoriously violent. We're talking severe squally thunderstorms, east to southeast winds hitting force 4 to 5, and occasional gusts ripping through at a dangerous force 11, churning up moderate to rough seas. At first glance, it looks like a textbook natural disaster. But before we accept that conclusion, I gotta ask you something. If you believe safety protocols should absolutely never be optional, take a second to share this explainer right now. Because the weather, that's only half the story. Here is where we reveal the core human error at the heart of all this. International maritime treaties mandate that a ship's tracking transponder must remain on at all times, no exceptions. Yet, according to marine tracking platforms, the Khoi Nguyen 18 was last detected way back in March. For months, it was operating with its transponder entirely turned off in a direct, blatant violation of international treaties.
So, we need to understand what exactly was turned off here. The AIS, or Automated Identification System, is an absolutely vital tracking tool. It continuously broadcasts a vessel's identity, its precise position, and its course directly to satellites and nearby ships. The decision to intentionally disable this crucial digital signal transforms what looks like a tragic weather disaster into a textbook, undeniable case of systemic human error and negligence. Think about it. If the ship had been broadcasting, could authorities have warned them about the localized squalls? Could the rescue have started hours earlier?
This right here brings us to the core mission of the Human Error News Network. What can we learn together to stop this from happening again? Well, first, we must detect. Global maritime authorities need better systems to actively monitor AIS compliance and immediately flag ships that go dark. Second, prevent. We have to enforce strict severe weather routing so ships aren't blindly sailing into force 11 gusts. And third, correct. We have to hold violators of these international treaties accountable if we're ever going to fix this global culture of maritime noncompliance.
I really want you to just absorb this number for a second. 4 months. The Coinwin 18 was a massive general cargo ship built in 2017. It wasn't some ancient analog rust bucket, right? It was a modern vessel that managed to operate entirely undetected by satellite tracking for a third of a year before sending its final distress call. The fact that a ship this large can just slip off the grid for that long, that should terrify anyone who relies on a safe, regulated ocean.
The Vietnamese Ministry of Foreign Affairs stated they have the highest level of determination to find the missing. And as they search, I want to empower you with a new framework. The next time you see a maritime disaster pop up in the news, you now know to look right past those severe weather reports. You know to immediately ask the hard questions about AIS tracking, safety compliance, and the underlying human negligence that puts these crews in danger in the very first place.
We are absolutely going to keep tracking this story, but right now I want to hear from you. As a key part of the Human Error News Network community, what systemic failure should we investigate next? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your insights literally drive our next deep dive, and they help spread this critical information so more people can learn exactly how to detect, prevent, and correct human error.
Because ultimately, this incident leaves us with a pretty chilling realization. If a massive 62-person cargo ship can intentionally hide from global satellite tracking for 4 entire months, right in the middle of one of the most heavily monitored and contested waterways on Earth, what else is sailing through the South China Sea, completely unseen? This has been a special report from the Human Error News Network.